head over to Ben's house. Gonna be there by 8:15. I'm gonna get there a little early, so let's go. Okay, so I'm gonna go into this app called Pest Routes Tech. I would download that app right now. If you've got your phone, just go ahead and look up Pest Routes Tech. It's gonna be this blue app. I'm gonna go into it. After you get signed in, it's gonna pull up on your routes first. I would just go to timer, and then you're gonna hit start timer. It's gonna ask you if you wanna clock in. You're gonna hit yes, okay? Then you're gonna clock out for lunch, clock back in after lunch, and that's just something that you should make part of your routine whenever you stop or go. Just remember to clock in and out, all right? All right, guys, I'm gonna announce the teams. So we got Austin Ellsworth, Caden, and Nick. Austin Miller and Ben are going together. And then Danny Broadhead, Javen, and Dustin. Okay, so I'm gonna go back into my app. So my first job for the day is Jeanette Fisher. Tells me her address, I can get directions, I can text and I can call her. I like calling the customer just so she's aware that I'm coming, or you can text them. So I'm gonna call her really quick. Hi Jeanette, it's Jackson with Glide. I was just calling to see if it's doing good. I just calling to see if it's okay for us to come over right now and get started on your windows. Cool. Okay, so I just called Jeanette. She said we're good to go ahead and head over. We're a little early, so we'll be over there, by a little after 9. I'm just gonna hit directions here to her house, okay? It's gonna ask me for the address. I'm gonna go, it's gonna pull it up on Apple Maps. It says it's 16 minutes away, okay? And usually what I'll do is I'll tell the customer, hey, we're about 20 minutes away, just so I give myself a 4-minute buffer and it evens the number out. And you don't want to click into the job because it's going to ask you to check into the appointment. That's something we're going to do in just a little bit here. So if you ever go into the job to like check notes or something, just hit no and you can scroll through it and then go back after you're done. But right now we're just looking for directions. That's right on the outside before you click into the job. And we'll head on over.
Mr. Clean, ready while you floss on me. Mr. Clean, pull up on my whole team. Mr. Clean.
So we just got to the house. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to this. And remember when I said don't clock in? Now we're going to clock into the job. Yes. Okay, this starts our timer. So if we go to complete here, it'll say appointment status in at 9:14. Okay. And then what we're going to do after we finish the job, and we'll go over this, we want to save those changes, yes, is we will go to complete. This is after we finish, remember, mark as serviced, and that will charge the customer's card. Okay. And before I go in, I'm going to check the notes. Here, there aren't any notes. So we should be fine there, but I'll give you an example of what notes would look like. So if we go to Austin Miller's route, said no gates, no pets, knock on the door first, don't clean the basement windows or the windows above the garage. So that's an example of what notes would look like on a route. Cool. So if I go into here, into the appointment, I have to notice that if I go to payment, so I go to invoice payment, and I scroll down here, and it says payment accounts, and there's no like card on file. So what it will normally say ****, last 4 digits of the card number. So since we don't have a card on file, I'm not going to start the service until I get that from her. Hi,
Morning.
Jeanette?
Yes.
Hi, I'm Jackson with Goliath.
Oh, yeah.
So we're here to clean your windows. We're just ready to get started. Is it okay with you if we come in and take the screens out from the upstairs? Is that okay?
That would be perfect. You betcha.
Okay, sweet. Okay, so if you look at the front here, windows on roofs. Okay, we've got 5 windows on the roof, 2 other windows over here that are on the roof. Now I can already tell. I can probably stand on this roof and feel safe. If it were any shorter or any steeper, I would not stand on that roof over there. Just note that if there's a roof at the front of the house like this, you're probably gonna have to get up and do it by hand. Same thing with these porch windows. I don't like soaking people's porches with the water bed. So I'll usually do the porch windows by hand, the ones above the roof by hand. Here I'll be doing those by hand. So this is the plan that I'm making as I'm walking around the house. I'm like, okay, whoever I'm with, I'll probably send her to do the front, or I'll do the front, all mop and sweep. Okay, big window right there that we're probably gonna use the water fed on. We've got 2 basement windows right here. Okay? But because the windows are large, I'll probably either have to use water fed or a trad pull on it. We'll figure out what we'll do there. Let's see what the back of the house looks like first. Got high windows here, definitely gonna water fed those. We'll probably water fed these as well. And these big porch windows. Probably water fed those. Okay, so this window we're gonna water fed. We'll watch the basement window back here. And she's got 1 window right here, and we can probably reach with the ladder. Okay, so since I just stepped in some mud over there, and just in general, we take our shoes off before we go inside a customer's house, because we don't want to make the house filthy. So here's how we take the screen off from the inside. Open the window. There's a tab right here. Okay. There's a tab down here. What you do is you take these tabs and push them towards this side of the window. Okay, so this way. And you push the screen out. Okay, it should come right out. Alright. Okay, so we're going to be taking screens out from the outside now. Showing you how to do that. You'll need a screwdriver, flathead screwdriver. Okay, and basically what you'll be doing is it's kind of the same principle of pushing the screen this way, except you're going to be doing it like this with your thumb on the edge, pushing it like that. See how it moves? Okay, and then we'll stick this flathead screwdriver in here, lift up, and pull it out like that. Okay, I'm gonna go trace it up. If it's higher like this, push it in, pull it out. Okay, so that's how you take a screen out from the outside. Okay, so I've organized the screens into the top floor and bottom floor screens. And the ones I haven't taken out yet are the basement screens, and that's totally fine. Usually, even if they let us on the inside take the screens out, I usually take the basement screens out from the outside, just because I'm going to be in the basement well, and it's just a lot easier to organize it that way. So top floor screens, bottom floor screens. There's only a few basement windows. Usually won't have more than 6 basement windows, screens. I think this house has 4. So you see this dirt right here in the window. This is the exterior window track, okay? There's an interior track here. I don't know if this window is unlocked or not. I don't think it is. That lies underneath where the window is sitting, and that is the actual track. This is the exterior track where the screen sits, and it's always very dirty. We've gotten a few callbacks from customers because we clean the window, and after the window drips all the water down, it just makes this all muddy. So to avoid that, take this boar's hair brush or any brush that you have, and I just dust this out, just so that we just so that when this gets wet, it's not muddy. So I'm gonna go around the whole house, and I'm gonna do that for every single track before I start the window. So if you're in a team of 3 or a team of 2, I would have one person doing it while they're taking the screens out. If you're taking the screens out from the outside, just do it right after you take the screen out. It doesn't take more than 30 seconds, and you can do it right after you take the screen out. So I'm filling up my water. I'm going to show you how to set up one of these ladders. So basically you take 2 sides here, you push it in, it'll expand it to an A-frame. Okay, that's what we call an A-frame. You get up on one side and clean a window like this. But we're trying to get up onto this roof over here. So what we're going to do is we're going to push these sides again. Okay. And I'm going to extend it. So it's just going straight up and down. I'm going to take these 2 grips here. I'm going to twist them like this. Push it up to the top one. Do the same thing here. Walk it up to the top rung. So it locks. Okay? Now I have a 20-foot ladder, 22-foot ladder or something. Okay, you saw how small that collapsed? Now I've got a 22-foot ladder. So when you set a ladder up, this is my comfortable distance away from the house that I like, is a full wingspan. And that's where I feel the most comfortable. I can do a single wingspan. That's as close as I would get to a house. If you're climbing up a ladder and you're doing this, where you're having to like straddle the ladder, it's not safe, okay? You want to have a comfortable distance away from the house where you can step up it like a set of stairs, okay? So that's the best way to set up the ladder to where it's comfortable. So for soap, sometimes you use Ajax, Dawn, whatever dish soap that we have. I filled the bucket up to halfway right here. Okay, and all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna squirt 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 seconds of soap into the bucket. That really gives the best solution of water to soap. I'm gonna mix it up. Okay. And I'm ready to go. Okay, so I just dusted off this exterior track here. Now I'm gonna clean the window. So as you can see here, this window, this may look like hard water to some of you, but if I just run my finger across, see how I just left a finger mark in this window? And you can see that the window is clean basically after I do that. That shows this is just dirt. So I really don't need to do anything besides use my mop on it. So I'm just gonna mop up the window. And then here's the true skill of being a window cleaner, is being able to squeegee. So right now I have a wide body squeegee here, okay, on an Unger Ninja handle. And there are a few ways to squeegee. We can do straight pulls, and even if we do straight pulls, the one thing you need to know is cutting in. So cutting in is when I go parallel with the rubber, like this. Squeegeeing is this way, cutting in is this way. So I'm gonna cut into the top here, and that allows me to better get the water at the top of the window, okay? Because then I don't leave any marks up here. If I were to just start at the top of the window like this, I'd leave this streak along the top. You come up close and see it? I'd leave this huge streak along the top. And if my mop is wet, it'll drip all the way down before you can even get to the next part of the window. So I'm not a huge fan of straight pulls, but I'm gonna teach you how to do it anyway. Straight pulls is when you cut in, okay? You go across and you pull all the way down to the bottom of the window, okay? And you do it again, cut in, pull across, and you're gonna angle your squeegee just like this. If I angle my squeegee like this, I'll leave a fat streak right there. So I wanna cut in and pull all the way down, angled up like this. See, now the streak's on this side. Okay, and now I can't cut in like I've been doing, so how I'm gonna have to cut in is cut in from the top like this. Cut in like this and angle it down. to the way, all the way to the bottom. Okay, now I'm gonna take my towel and I have to detail if I straight pull. See, I left a fat mark up here from when I straight pulled. That will dry into a soap mark if it's not detailed. So I'm just gonna take one finger, make it super tight around this dry surgical towel. I'm gonna kind of frame out, box out the window with my finger, getting all the edges. Okay, and that's how you clean with straight pulls. As you can tell, I'm not a huge fan of straight pulls. I'm gonna teach you the way that I like to do it. It's called fanning. You do the exact same thing with cutting in, except I like to hit this edge too. I angle it just like I would on a straight pull, but as I'm coming over here, you can see that I turn my squeegee like I'm gonna do a straight pull right here, okay? But instead I'm gonna do just that. So I'm gonna come down and then I'm gonna come up and catch this guy. And what I'm doing is I'm watching the edge of my squeegee that's moving. So as I change directions here, I'm gonna watch this edge of my squeegee catch all of that water, and I'm making sure that it hits the edge of the window perfectly. So if I'm coming off the window like this, I'm gonna be missing a lot of water on the edge of the windows. Might as well just straight pull, okay? The trick about fanning that makes window cleaning so much easier is that you don't need to, if you get good enough at fanning, I should say, you should always detail. I even detail after fanning, but if you get good enough, sometimes you don't have to detail. If you hit this edge perfectly right here, see how I barely left anything to detail? And I can actually, with fanning, go back and hit it again if I do leave streaks. See how I'm following this edge? I'm watching this end of my squeegee, watching it go hit the edge perfectly. Look where I'm at on the edge. I'm perfectly on the edge. I'm not over it. I'm not missing it, because then I'll miss all this water. Okay, I'm hitting it perfectly so that, and it's going down so that I don't have to do as much detailing when I'm done. Okay. I'm gonna come all the way down the window. And then this is closing out. So you can see, like, if I were to just do a side straight pull here, I get all the water. Notice that, okay, my squeegee is too low to do a straight pull across, because if I do, I'll leave that streak, okay? The thing about closing out is you have to be able to recognize how big your squeegee is. This is a 12-inch squeegee, okay? And where you are on the window to be able to do a straight pull. So now that I get here, I'm like, okay, pretty sure that I can do a straight pull across and close this out. Yep, there you go. You can also close out to the bottom as well. So if I do the bottom half of this window, if I cut in, hit the edges, watching the squeegee, the end of my squeegee that's moving forward, I can actually close out to the bottom as well, where I just keep doing this all the way down, and that closes out, okay? So there's different ways you can close out. Should clean off the sills and the edges of the frame. If you're struggling with fanning, okay, and you're like, oh, I can't hit the edges of this window. You know, I keep going over, I can't nail it on the sides, because it does really take practice. It honestly, it took me 3 months to learn fanning. So if you can do better than that, you're solid, okay? And I know you can do better than that, because I've taught people and they've learned in a day. So, if you're struggling with fanning, what you can do is you can do your normal cut in, okay? Cutting in is probably the most important squeegee skill to have. You can do your normal cut in, and you can do a straight pull down on this side, making sure you're not coming off the edge. You only have to make sure that you hit the edge perfectly one time, and if you do a perfect straight pull all the way down, you're golden, okay? Then you can do it on the other side too, where you hit a straight pull on the other side. Now I'm left with the middle of the window. If I mop up the middle of this window, again, making sure it's nice and lubricated, I cut in, I do a normal fanning process, but just in the middle of the window, and I don't have to hit the edges perfectly, and it can actually go quite a bit faster down the window. And that's what you can do if you're struggling with the fanning method. Okay, so I finished the front side here. I finished what I'm going to be mopping and squeegeeing for now. I still have to do that side window and then also the basement windows. Speaking of the basement windows, let's come around here. We're going to move on to that. To take out the basement window screen, dust off the track because the water-fed water is going to drip down onto the bottom windows. Okay, so I've just made a habit because water-fed goes top to bottom with getting everything wet. I've just made a habit of taking the basement screens out before I start the water fed and dusting out that exterior track. So I'm going to do that right now. Now that we've taken the screens out, dusted out the tracks, we're ready to water fed. Okay, so I've already hooked the water fed up. We actually turned it on so that we can get length on our hose here. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to unravel this hose and I'll show you where the hoses connect. But to uncoil these specific hoses, you do not want to throw this in with the green piece on it. In fact, these green pieces are very fragile, okay? So don't throw them, don't drag them across the ground. If you're ever moving with it, pull this piece. Okay, I'm going to throw this in and coil it. Okay. And same with this blue hose as well. Okay, now my hoses are uncoiled. I have this is a boar's hair brush. It has a white pad on the side to help with really dirty jobs. Okay, I'll show you how to use that in a minute. This blue hose, you literally just take it like this and you shove it in. And you'll hear it kind of lock into place. Okay, now I'm gonna hold this hose down. Holding this end. So this water fed has 4 jets. This is a TDS meter, okay? I'm gonna hit the on button here. I'm gonna hold this after I put it in. 3, that's good, okay? 2 now, okay? So it's about 2 to 3, which is ideal. Usually the water in Utah is around 250. Okay, so that filter, that triple filtration system that we have there, it's filtering 250 TDS down to 3 TDS. Okay, and the ideal is 0 to 5. If it's more than 5, you probably don't want to be using that water fed. Okay, and you need to either replace the filter or not use the water fed for that job. You see how the brush right here is directly on the window. It's like fraying as I'm brushing the window. Okay, that's ideal. If I were any closer to the window like this to try to get more length on my brush, the brush is not directly on the window anymore. I don't know if you can see that, but it's just the bottom bristles are on the window and not the middle or top ones. So the whole point with water fed is you want the bristles directly on the window like this. And the method that I use when using water fed is first I scrub the whole window inside itself too, and then I box the window out like this. scrub the middle again. As I said, the whole thing with water fed is it's top to bottom. So if you clean the bottom of the window really well, but not the top, when you go to rinse, when it dries, it'll rinse with a lot of dirt streaks on it. So, all right, now I'm going to rinse. Rinsing is probably the most important part. I'm going to rinse the top extremely well and take a lot of time with the top of the window. I usually rinse the top of the window about 3 times before I trail it going down. So just to be safe with this window, because I don't want to have to move this whole water fed system and then come back and find out, oh, there's still junk all over this window. So to make sure, I'll scrub it again, and then I'll use this white pad on the back, okay? This white pad functions like steel wool, which we'll go over in a second here, which it's an abrasive pad that gets dirt that's stuck on the window off. And I'll put that on the whole window, especially the top and the bottom. Okay, scrub one more time. And then rinse. We haven't gone over hard water yet, but we will in a sec. Second story windows may have hard water on them. It's not frequent, but it happens. And what I'll do in that case, and in that scenario, is I will take my toilet bowl cleaner and I will spray it on my brush. Okay? I'll try not to get it where the water's shooting out, so just in the middle basically and around it. And I'll scrub the window with that. And that makes it so toilet bowl cleaner will get a lot of that off. I will definitely scrub it with this pad, and then I will scrub it again and rinse it really well, because I have to make sure all of those suds from the toilet bowl cleaner come off.
Somewhere beyond the sea, somewhere waiting for me, my lover stands on golden sands and watches the ships that go sailing. Somewhere beyond the sea, she's there watching for me. If I could fly like birds on a high, then straight to her arms I'd go sailing.
Okay, so as you can see here, these doors right here were extremely hydrophobic. The water beat it up really quick. Versus these top windows here, you can see they didn't beat up as much as these bottom windows. The difference is, if I am ground level and there's a really hydrophobic window, like hydrophobic's good because, you know, the water beats up and it runs down faster, but actually the truth is hydrophilic is better for water fed. So if I'm on ground level and I'm like, okay, well, I can reach these windows that are hydrophobic, I'm gonna clean them by hand, okay? So I'll clean the screens first and I'll bring the basement screen with me into the window well, and after I'm done cleaning the window, I'll just pop it back in. So this is the order I normally do it. I like doing this more than doing it by hand. I'll teach you both ways, okay? But basically, with this screen cleaner, you're gonna pop all 4 legs up like this. Get these little triangle pieces here that are gonna hold it in place. So I'm gonna tip this down and it's gonna lock it in place. If you tip the other way, the thing's gonna fall over, right? So you're gonna tip this down, it's gonna lock it in place. Flip it over. So there's a little insert here for the hose, which we have right here. So to clean these, you have to be very careful. You saw it kind of bend when I was putting it in. These bristles are very tight when you first put a screen in. So I'm holding both edges like this, just to make sure that the screen doesn't lose its shape or integrity. After I've soaked the entire thing, I've cleaned the frames off of the screen and everything, and I tap it on the ground. Same here. Then I'm going to pat it out, okay? Okay, so a few things you got to be aware of when you're putting the screen back from the outside. So come over here. So you see these springs right here? Those are the springs that you used to put it back in. So you see how this spring is not on the frame right here? This is a perfect example of what's going to happen. Let's say you're trying to put this screen back in and you're like, okay, great, get the top in. Okay, now I'm going to put the bottom in. Oh, it's not going. Or even if it's just a little bit off, you know, it doesn't have to be all the way off. It could be from the inside. And you could be really struggling to get it back in. Always check this spring first. That should be the first thing you check if you can't get the screen back in. Check the spring, okay? That's most likely the issue. If that's not the issue, and you can't fit the screen back in, that screen probably doesn't go in the window, okay? A lot of the time people will be like, oh no, screens are the same size, no worries. You know, I'll put them back in. I can't tell you how many times I've had window cleaners come hanging their heads back to me saying, oh no, it wasn't the same size. Because they're trying to wrench a screen back in the window where it doesn't belong. Sometimes these screens are half an inch longer than the window, and you think that it's for the same window, but it's not. You know, the other window over there was made to fit that screen. So, and that's at fault for the builders because it should be all the same. This house, they're all the same. So the builders did a good job on this house. But in general, if the screen is made, you know, for a specific window, and the screen's not going in, probably doesn't go to that window. So be careful with these screens. Make sure you're not shoving them back in. It should not be a difficult endeavor to put a screen back in the window. And if it is, probably should get your route manager to do it for you. So I basically have two options with this bathroom window. I can hop out on the outside, have my partner come in and close the window on me while I clean the window, hop back out, put the screen back in. That's definitely an option. Or I can take the window out, which is done by finding the sweet spot on the track where this window will lift up and pop out of the track. Okay, so see how I did that? There's a little pocket just like for a screen. A little pocket up here for the window to go. Push up into it, pull it out. Okay. Window back in. Turn it around. There are two ways to clean an inside pane. I just cleaned this one with a mop and squeegee, but I'll show you how to do mop and squeegee over here. So mop and squeegee is just like you would on the outside, but if you can see that this sill here, I don't really want to get it wet. So I'm gonna do just like I did in the bathroom, that bathroom window. I'm going to keep my mop below it so it doesn't drip as much. So that's mop and squeegee for the inside clean. Okay, the other way to clean a paint is by using your glass cleaner and a microfiber pad or a really dry, clean cloth. Okay, and the way you do it is just one spray of your glass cleaner. And you just wipe it over the window. And again, this is for windows that are basically, they are already clean. You're not gonna do this for a house that, for example, hasn't cleaned their windows for 5 years. But this is for houses that are probably new builds and they're like, I want the inside paints done. There you can't see any visible fingerprints or anything. That's when you would use the glass cleaner. So glass is basically clean, you want the inside done anyway. Otherwise, you're gonna mop and squeegee. Okay, so we are here in a basement window well. What we're gonna do is we're going to clean the hard water off of this window, and then what we're gonna do is put something called Rain-X on the window, okay? Our sales reps pitch this to the customers, a response to them saying, oh, I don't wanna clean my windows because it'll rain. If I wipe my finger here, it just stays. Makes it actually a little whiter, but that's how you can tell it's hard water. Same on this window, it's staying on the window. So how to get this off, and you'll need toilet bowl cleaner, scraper, and steel bowl are the three things that you'll need in order to clean the window. So first what I'll do is I'll spray the toilet bowl cleaner on the window, independent if the window is super dirty or not. You can see, look how much that's taken off already. It reacts with it, it turns it white, takes it off the window. And I'll take my mop, and I'll rub the toilet bowl cleaner into the rest of the window. And then if it's really bad, take the toilet bowl cleaner, and as I'm scraping, I'll spray it in front of my scraper, like that. Make sure I get the edges really well. And then you can hear it coming off as I'm scraping. That sound is hard water coming off the window. So scraping is what you do when you can feel the hard water on the glass. So when I was touching this, I could feel that. I could feel the hard water on the glass that I'm scraping off. So if any of you have seen The Princess Bride, there is mostly dead and all dead. In window cleaning, there is mostly clean and all clean. So here you can see that this is mostly clean. I got all the stuff that I can feel off the window. Now I've got to get this stuff off that I can't feel. It's almost infused with the window. And I do that by using steel wool, okay? We've used the steel wool and the window's completely clean, so all of those marks that I showed you before are gone. So now what I'm going to take is I'm going to take my Rain-X, I'm going to spray it on the window. This turns the window hydrophobic, okay? Which basically, we saw that with the water flood, okay? It helps it repel water a little more. And this will make it so that it won't have that hard water caked onto it as bad next time we come back. So you can see with this glass cleaner that I just put on it, it already started repelling the water that I placed on with my mop. Okay, just apply it just like that, squeegee it right off, detail. And you're done. That's the 4-step process that we're gonna take whenever we clean hard water off a window. Remember, it's toilet bowl cleaner, scraping, steel wool, then Rain-X. Okay, that's going to be the same if it's a basement window or if it's a second story window. Sometimes you'll find hard water on a second story window, and it's usually homes that haven't been cleaned in a really long time. So don't get discouraged if you can't get the hard water off after doing that full process. Just get your route manager, notify him about it, and notify the customer after the job saying, hey, this window had hard water, we couldn't get off just because it's been so long since your windows were cleaned and it's damaged the window. So that's how you clean hard water off windows. Hi Jeanette, how's it going?
Good.
So we just finished all your windows. We didn't have any issues with any of them, so we were able to clean them all. Hopefully they look good from the inside. We got all the screens washed and put back in as well. Other than that, we've got it all set. So
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you so much. You guys did a great job.